Hey there, thank you for stopping by. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Yvonne. I'm a copywriter and I've recently become a digital nomad. I started out this lifestyle in 2021 and spent about half of a year living and traveling my way through Croatia and then Germany. I had an incredible experience last year, and that has definitely whet my appetite for more digital nomad adventures, but I've learned a lot of things along the way too. In this video, I'm going to share 12 tips or lessons that I have learned as a new digital nomad. I've added chapters in the description box so you can jump to whatever topics interest you most. Happy listening, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So let's jump into it, shall we? Hello, it's another sunny, gorgeous, and snowy day here in the Pacific Northwest, and I thought since today is December 31st, the last day of the year, it might be fun to take a little walk and talk candidly about my first 6 months or so as a digital nomad. I've learned some things. It hasn't been perfect. It's been a bit rocky, but in a lot of other ways, it's far exceeded my expectations. I have no script for this. I'm sure I'll forget to say a few things that I would have liked to say. But yeah, this is just straight off the cuff what I think of the experience so far. I hope you find some of these things interesting or insightful. A really important disclaimer for this whole video. I'm still learning this. All of these opinions are just my experience and my perspective. I know I would have enjoyed watching this about a year ago when I was preparing to jet set and take off on my own adventure. It helps to hear from a lot of people. We all have vastly different backgrounds and preferences and life experience. So things I've learned. Tip number 1, pack light. Embrace the chance to adopt a more minimal lifestyle. Seriously, like travel, size, carry on, pack as little as you can get by with, because you want to be able to carry everything by yourself. I can't tell you the number of times I was so happy that I didn't have an overlarge suitcase or backpack weighing me down, because I am a solo traveler. You don't really have people to help watch things for you or carry them for you. And as they say, whatever you're bringing, maybe cut that in half, maybe even in half again. It's great to have a more minimal lifestyle. I'm enjoying that immensely. It's totally changed the way I live and see life and consume as well. Being a digital nomad is a fantastic opportunity to size down and just simplify life. Take out some of that cognitive load of choices and decisions and having too much stuff. You don't need it. Honestly, you don't need it. I know I need to pack lighter next time, so. Tip number 2, and this really goes with the territory, adopt a flexible mindset and attitude. Don't overplan or underplan. Basically, border restrictions can change at any time, so if you have your hopes set to go somewhere, if it doesn't work out or the rules change, you just need to roll with it. You know, maybe you'll have an idea to visit a couple countries, and by factors not under your control, you're unable to do that. The important thing is to just expect the unexpected, expect change and flux and rules and confusion, and hopefully, you know, you're not going to get disappointed when things don't go according to plan, because, like, spoiler, things never go quite according to plan. So just be cool with what happens, how things happen in its own extraordinary and inexplicable way. But I do think I should urge you to do your research. Like, keep up to date on these things. Like, a surprise would be the worst, especially a preventable one, an unnecessary one. So do your homework, but don't get too set on any little plan. This is just a big lesson from travel in general. So be fluid, be flexible, be prepared. Tip number 3, be prepared with some savings and or steady streams of income. You can start digital nomad life with as little as $3,000 or perhaps even less if you are frugal and careful about your spending. So one more super important thing I learned, of course, this I probably should have addressed at the beginning of the video, but definitely save for a rainy day and diversify your income sources as much as possible. As a freelancer, clients come and go. Generally, the good ones have stayed, and I've been really excited about it, but not everything has worked out all the time. In financial advice columns, you'll see that you should save at least 6 months of your regular income to get you through a rough patch. It's good to have 6 months savings there as a buffer, because when things aren't going well, it's not easy. So save, 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 save. On the good days, spend very little, like you would on the days you're more hurting for cash. Have an eye on your budget, on your savings, and have some extra buffer, so if you're in between things, countries, clients, projects, whatever, that you have enough to go on. Number 4. A little bit of planning and research doesn't hurt you, but it can be best to go with the flow and let your digital nomad journey evolve naturally and take its own shape. Digital nomad permit or visa is kind of on everyone's radar. Totally like new type of thing to emerge in the aftermath of COVID. But as a beginner digital nomad, you know, it might be enticing and attractive to think of applying for the permit right away and you have your base kind of figured out. And I was lured into this, and part of me still really wants to get the digital nomad permit, but there's a lot to discover and learn about your living preferences. You know, what kind of climate you want, what kind of city atmosphere, what kind of accessibility to like grocery stores or how walkable a place is. And then once you come to a country, there are so many cities and places within that country to even explore. So a lot of the times you might need to register an address. And honestly, there's a lot of searching around that you might want to do. Like a permit's great, but then where do you want to be even? And some of the beauty of the choice to go digital nomad is you could go anywhere, be anywhere. There's quite a lot of paperwork involved with any of these permits, or money, one of the two, often both, in that process. And while you're still figuring out what you like and what you need to live a good lifestyle, why not explore around a bit? That's what I thought. I mean, I was pretty dead set on applying for the Croatia digital nomad permit, and I'm still seriously looking at it, but I'm giving myself a bit of freedom to roam right now, because as a fresh digital nomad, I would say don't rush into anything. Take your time, think about it, and do what feels right. Because you might thrive in a lot of different places. There's no reason you have to pick just yet. Tip number 5, do beware of imposter syndrome. I do believe it comes for most of us at one point or another. Maybe the biggest bummer or hardest realization or thing that I experienced was a whole lot of imposter syndrome. I knew I was flying out there and was working remotely just like anyone else who does this, but on the road you just meet really cool people, and I don't want to say I'm not confident in myself or I don't believe in myself. I do, sometimes more than others, but when you're surrounded by a lot of cool people like that, it's hard not to compare yourself a little bit, or wish that you had some of the ease and confidence that some people seem to give off. And I'm gonna take these off. Anyway, I just didn't expect to be struck so hard with this overwhelming feeling of imposter syndrome. Fortunately though, when I was trusting enough to like open up about my feelings, it always helped, and I could always come to a sense of understanding with people, and that helped me through some kind of rough patches. Anyone I told this to said that they were surprised. They were like, really, you're feeling that? Like, we don't think that you need to, or you shouldn't feel like you don't belong or you shouldn't be here. But also they could relate to me as well, because when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter how accomplished or experienced you are, everyone experiences imposter syndrome. Tip number 6, try to stay connected with loved ones and nurture your support system. Having just a couple of core people that you check in with can be a huge boost for your mental health. Another thing I realized is a big thing that helped me get through some of the difficulties of the lifestyle was having someone back from home to talk with every single week. And I am so lucky because I talk to my sister, you know, for an hour or two or more every single week. I also chat with my family every week, and it's really nice to be able to check in with someone who knows you since forever, someone who's familiar with your background and your family and your friends, because although it's easy to click with people and connect with people quickly, as a digital nomad, there's still some lacking of that familiarity. And also, since there's kind of a high revolving door, people come and leave a place quite frequently and fluidly. That takes some getting used to, and you're saying a lot of goodbyes. You're meeting a lot of people, but you're saying a lot of goodbyes. So having that one person to check in with and who's checking in on you is definitely a huge emotional support.
Tip number 7, try to find some routines and stick to them. Through our routines, it is easier to find balance.
I mean, actually getting work done can be difficult. You really have to put your head down and push away distraction more than perhaps in your home country. And just getting into a routine can be challenging. If your location is changing quite a bit, it can be hard to figure out, you know, what time you get up in the day, when you go to the grocery store, when you feel productive during the day. There's a lot that can kind of throw you off balance.
Tip number 8, travel slowly and adjust to life. Another way to say this is try to live like the locals do. This will most likely save you money and enrich your experience.
And when you're slow traveling, you're not really going somewhere new every week or few days. Like, you know, a lot of us have been trained to travel, but slow travel is when you're taking like several weeks to months at a time to be in a place. And this is so good for like the local economy and familiarizing yourself with the local culture, learning about the different food and people, the industries there, what matters to people, what people want to protect and preserve. So I'm a huge proponent of slow travel, and I think it's really important for a digital nomad to really take their time, because you have to find a way to be productive and get into a workflow, but also explore and see and experience enough during your time somewhere. At least after my first few months doing this, I have to say that I prefer to stay in a city. Like one city per month is a really sweet spot, and for some places I would stay or recommend staying even longer.
Tip number 9, no matter what you do or don't do, you are up against FOMO. You'll have to find a way to cope with this, and it isn't easy.
Another one of the more difficult things I would have to say is missing things, not only in the country you're traveling in, but missing things back home. Like, of course, you're experiencing something beautiful and new and exciting, and it'd be so cool. I always was missing my family because I wish they could be seeing what I was seeing and experiencing what I was experiencing, and the only way I could share that back with them were through photos and videos. But of course it's not the same as actually being together, but that's something I'm still learning how to process. I don't really have an answer or solution for this other than just like enjoy it for you and know that you get to tell stories later and that you'll enjoy it. And hopefully someday I can get my family out to where I'm traveling to. I'd love to, like, you know, treat them with a trip or something sometime so we could experience some of these things together. I won't put it on them to come visit me because everyone has different lives and restraints and just challenges that they deal with. Not everyone can be where I am. But it is hard. Not only them missing my life, but also me missing their lives a bit, like special occasions. And this past year, I had to miss the baby shower of someone really, really close to me. I got to Zoom in, and that helps too. Like, set up Zoom meetings or try to attend virtually somehow. With COVID, there's a lot more, I guess, capability to attend an event virtually, so take advantage of that when you can. So this baby shower I did get to attend over Zoom, but I couldn't stay, right? And then I was only on there for about an hour because I just called in over Zoom and I couldn't be there for the whole thing. I couldn't give her a hug. I couldn't talk to people that I know and love because basically everyone was together that I know. And once I turned off Zoom, I was really emotional about it. There's just things that you have to miss, and it's really, really hard. But, for things that you're missing, you're also experiencing a lot of what we call once-in-a-lifetime things. And when you're traveling slowly, and as a digital nomad, you just get to meet people and do things that would be really difficult otherwise on a vacation or any other kind of, business trip or visit somewhere. You take some, you lose some, right? So finding a way to be with people in spirit or virtually as much as you can who matter to you, and giving yourself enough enriching experiences in your own time zone, in your own location too, so that you feel fulfilled.
Tip number 10, don't neglect your health. Of course, this is easier said than done, but it does come back to slowing down and listening to your own body and intuition.
Make sure to focus on your health. I think a quick way to feel like you're degrading and not successful is when you aren't keeping up with a diet that makes you feel good, getting proper nutrition and vegetables, because there's a lot of tempting things to eat that aren't necessarily super healthy, but finding room in your budget and time to prepare enough nutritious foods that will keep you going. And I was eating a lot of gelato like all over the place, so I had to equal out somewhere and eat some healthy things. So eat well.
Tip number 11 is related to the previous, but try to exercise regularly or at least move every day. It's important to stay physically strong and fit so you can make the most of your experience.
So before my trip, I was actually doing a ton of yoga, like 5 days a week. I've never been every day, but I was doing a lot of it. And then, for obvious reasons, I kind of stopped when I was traveling. I was walking a lot at least, but I stopped moving every day. And when I did make time to exercise and do yoga again, or bar, like Pilates exercise, I felt like a million bajillion times better than when I didn't. So that's one thing that I'm taking into my next trip, is hopefully daily yoga, daily movement or exercise of some kind, because I know I feel worlds better with it. I'm more mentally alert as well. So that's another part of just charging yourself, and if you're moving around too quickly, you're going to be just too physically and mentally exhausted. When you head out on your trip, I just recommend pick a place and stick to it for a few weeks so you can not burn out too quickly, because burnout does happen.
Finally, we've made it to my tip number 12. Saying no is okay when it allows you to say yes to yourself. Remember, you are your number one priority, and no one can look after you better than yourself.
It's exciting, the digital nomad community. You meet so many people from so many countries, lots of different perspectives and talents and ideas, and I don't know, great ways to have fun and cool things to learn, and that's awesome. I will say there is a huge just say yes culture, and I like that a lot. I agree with it to an extent. I would say just say yes, unless, back to the other tips I had, you need some time for your health, you need to recharge, you need to save money. Just say yes unless you just don't feel up to it. You don't want to burn out, and you don't want to live with the scarcity syndrome and FOMO. Like, saying no to one event or opportunity or excursion might allow you to save time and energy for a different one that your heart's in a bit more, and you can just be more present and joyful and just a better version of you that you want to put out there. Because we don't always feel up to things, and that's okay. It's alright to just take a step back and take it easy sometimes, because there's definitely that go get them, go do this, do that, really, really high speed pace out there, and it's not always conducive to health and joy. So, you know, don't live with that scarcity syndrome. Sometimes saying no to things is a yes to yourself. I really believe that, especially now.
If you have made it this far into this video, wow, thank you. Please like this video or subscribe to my channel to show me you might be interested in more content like this.
These are just a few things that I've learned in my first 6 months or so as a digital nomad, and I'm excited to take these lessons and go into my next trips and my next experience as a digital nomad next year with a bit more wisdom and experience, restraint, and, you know, just healthy choices. So I hope you found some of this helpful. Let me know what you learned, or you have learned or want to learn on your digital nomad journey, and I'll enjoy communicating with you in the comments. So let's lift each other up. Also make digital nomad life a welcoming thing, because I think a lot of people could be doing it that aren't. And it's a wonderful thing, and we should share it as healthfully and helpfully as possible. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed these different tips and insights and experiences. I am going to go back to my walk in the snow. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like, comment, or subscribe if you'd be so kind. I will see you next time. Ciao!